For any Lotus fan, this is the big one. I've been waiting for what seems like an eternity to try one on track. The 311 is Lotus's what-if car. What if they did a V6 successor to the 211? What if they gave it the full charge-cooled 410 brake horsepower? What if it weighed 925 kilos? What if someone decided to hand me the keys on a fine summer's day at the Castle Combe circuit in Wiltshire? On paper, it's the ultimate road-legal Lotus. What's it like in reality? It was time to find out. That is lovely. Let's have some of this. See you later. Right, I do hope this audio works out well. But this is a 311, and the lightness in the steering is I mean, there is no car. It's like someone has just removed a whole chunk of car. Absolutely love the interior. Oh dear. Absolutely love the TFT screen and a manual. God, it really does feel lighter. So much anymore. If this isn't going to be nice on a day like today, I don't think it ever will be. This is your ultimate 311 conditions situation. Three different Lotuses, two of which are about the same price. This is about 85–90 grand to buy. Supercharger than you can in the 410 Raw. Yes, it's earplug stuff in here. A hell of a lot of wind buffeting. Hell of a lot of wind buffeting. Yes, well, it just feels like more of an example of what Chapman was on about. It's the Lotus philosophy taken to an extreme for a road car, and even just at these gentle warm-up lap speeds you can feel all the benefits. On the brakes, the steering is delicate and light as a good Lotus should be. Now, the 211 was one of my favourite cars, favourite Lotus cars to drive. Like this. So I wish I'd brought some earplugs because this is very noisy. Anything over 80
love that top end, the way this engine moves. Got an adjustable slip angle, traction control. Well, that's off. Okay, so it was set to full. It's fully on. Right, I'm not going to do a huge amount of laps, it's going to be bloody noisy, but my god. Just as an experience, to be outside in all the elements like this, there isn't even a roll cage in front of you to obscure the view. It's just got the most fantastic forward visibility for a track car. That in itself makes it an incredible experience. It's got for me, the best version of this V6, Toyota V6. Just like the 410 and the higher revs, car absolutely screams. What's the front end like with less weight? Just as an experience, it's absolutely glorious. It's like some kind of prototype car from a cartoon or sci-fi film. It's the kind of sports car you probably dreamt of as a kid.
So as you would expect, there's lots to like about the 311, but on this occasion there are one or two buts. But let's start with the positives. The steering is light and delicate and full of feel, as you would insist on a Lotus at this level. The brakes are stunningly strong. The visibility forward is a real high point of the car. It gives you a really panoramic view, a unique panoramic view of a circuit, and it's a really memorable way to experience a great track. The power at high revs is utterly bonkers and ballistic. This car would be absolutely hysterical on the road in small doses, and I really like the TFT screen. The work they've done on this for such a small production run is first rate. It's a really nice addition, and I hope to see this in future Lotus cars. But, and I take no pleasure in saying this, but this car was not all that I'd hoped it would be. It's not as quick as you might expect in the low and mid ranges. That you'd think with this much weight reduction, this car would feel impossibly fast. It absolutely is at high revs, but there's such a pronounced dip in the power before the real top end fireworks that actually between gears you're waiting for the car to accelerate hard again, and then it comes in one almighty bang. The whole thing makes the car quite hard work. It doesn't give up its speed easily on circuit. Now on the one hand, this car will provide an endless challenge, but on the other, I was expecting this car to be able to run with the radicals on track days. But if you want to do that, you're going to have to work really hard behind the wheel. You're going to come out exhausted, and you're going to have to be absolutely on your A game. I was expecting an easy 2 or 3 second lap time advantage over the V6 Cup just by virtue of the lightweight and power, but this never showed up. I found I had to work really hard to actually match the lap times I was doing in the V6 Cup. But it's an edgier, more intimidating car, and this just means less time at full throttle, a little bit more time, giving myself a margin for error, and this ultimately costs time on the circuit. It feels like most of the weight loss has come from the front axle. In terms of weight distribution, it feels, dare I say, a little imbalanced by Lotus standards. It's very light in the nose and very heavy at the rear. In very skilled hands, this is not a problem. As you're about to see, the car is now going out, being driven by British GT ace David Pittard. Now in his hands, this car is an absolute weapon. He was demolishing the sort of times I was setting by around 5 seconds. He was lapping at around the 1:12 mark, which is seriously quick, but actually it isn't quite as quick as I was hoping a 311 would be. The faster radicals driven by someone like David would be lapping possibly as much as 10 seconds a lap quicker. Okay, they'll be on slicks and they have higher downforce and so on, but I really thought the 311 was in that sort of league, and it really doesn't appear that it is, at least in road legal form. Perhaps my expectations were unreasonably high in this regard, and maybe there were some issues with this particular car. There was definitely some talk of it not being particularly well set up for Castle Combe on the day, but you really have to know what you're doing to get the potential out of one of these. Again, that would be an endless challenge, and it would be hugely satisfying, I'm sure, to get to that point. But I was actually strangely disappointed to be able to match my best time that I did in the 311 in my own Exige V6 Cup with just 345 horsepower and another couple of 100 kilos. Now I got a clue as to what might be going on when I was following David in the 311 and trying and failing miserably to keep up with him. Now it's very hard to see on the video, but during the braking into Quarry Corner I could actually see a puff of smoke coming from the 311, and when I went to have a look at it at the pits afterwards, David said yes, it does contact the front wheel arch, and you could actually see the front right tyre was sort of polished on the edge where it contacted the front wheel arch under heavy braking. Now this is not uncommon among a lot of cars on track, but it's very unusual in my experience for a Lotus, and there's a sense perhaps that this hasn't been as thoroughly developed as you would expect for a Lotus. I'm actually going back to Castle Combe to race my Caterham 7 there shortly, so hopefully it will still be dry and I can see what lap times I can do in that. But frankly, if I can beat the lap times of a British GT driver in a 311, then you have to conclude that the 311 isn't as fast as it should be for the money. Let's see what happens. I will post up a video after the Castle Combe race. Now I don't want to come across as being too harsh on what was undoubtedly one of the most thrilling cars I have ever driven, and when that thing is going and it's in the high revs, it's utterly addictive. I had an absolute blast in the 311, but decided that for me, for the money, the Evora Sport 410 was the better value package, and that is the route I'm going to be taking. So I'm very excited about that, although I shall be absolutely devastated to say goodbye to the Exige when it finally goes. Couldn't have been a better car, I couldn't have enjoyed it more. Until then, the ultimate Lotus for me remains the 211.